Hey everybody, today we're solving the integer replacement problem on LeetCode. We're given a positive integer n, and we can do two operations. If n is even, we replace n with n divided by 2. If n is odd, we can replace it with either n plus 1 or n minus 1. What is the minimum number of replacements needed for n to become 1? So for 8 it takes 3, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. For 7 it takes 4. You can either add or subtract 1, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Or if you subtract 1, you'll divide by 2, subtract 1, or divide by 2. So, this is a pretty simple problem. The only edge case that you need to consider, the thing that causes us a little trouble, is if they give you the maximum integer value. Because if they give you the maximum integer value, then when you add 1 to that number, you will overflow and end up with a negative number. And once you get to a negative number, the problem doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So here's the original function that we're given. Replacement sent an integer, and it wants to return an integer. And I just wrote a function that's got the exact same signature, except it takes a long instead of an int. So we just cast it to a long to get away from the integer overflow problem. And then from there, the recursive structure is pretty easy. So if the number we're given is less than or equal to 1, then there are 0 replacements needed to get it to 1. So we return 0. If the number we're sent is even, so if we're sent n is even, then the number of replacements it takes is 1 plus, so one operation to divide it by 2, plus the number to replace it of n by 2. And then if it's odd, we have to do one operation of either adding or subtracting 1, plus the minimum of the number of integer replacements for n plus 1 or n minus 1. And then we just return the answer. So that's all there is to this one. Again, the only tricky bit of all of this is this part right here. There are other ways to deal with the case where you're given the maximum integer value. I thought the easiest and cleanest way is just cast it to a long, and then once you're passing a long around in here, you don't have to worry about the overflow anymore, and you can just write up the recursive structure just like this, and it's nice and clean.